my question is sort of, well, why did they release this picture? What was the point of it, other than showing a personal moment, which I guess I understand, but it's not like they were, the press office was restricting the press from coming in for here. They never would have let you in anyway. And this moment would have happened, but you know what I'm saying? It's like you wouldn't have seen it in the past because there was never a Flickr feed until the Obama administration.
Right. Well, first off, they have, I did a day in the life with George Bush and was all the way up into the front cabin, in the private cabin where he was laying out on his cot, and the only thing they said was, Crowley, don't let him see what I'm reading. And I still won't tell you what he was reading, but he was stretched out on his bed up in the nose there. And I did a day in the life with Obama on day 97 of his presidency. I was all the way up to the upper deck of Air Force One when he was showing some congressmen. I think the only place that I didn't get up to was in the nose, but other times photographed him several times. The presidents in their office and in that conference room there. So it does happen. They depending on the mood they're in or whatever, they will occasionally, grant this kind of access. And I agree with you. Of course, common sense says that they're not going to allow anybody to have run amok on Air Force One any more than they would at the White House or at the Capitol or at the State Department or anywhere. You're right. But this particular White House administration, I don't know that it's really any worse than anybody. Everybody in the first few months, each administration is a little more open and a little more candid, and so I wouldn't say that they're that much more restrictive than anybody else. I mean, it's a pretty boring bowl of fruit they're asking you to paint every day. But we're not there just to cover the president. We're also there to cover the people around him, and we want to see all that too. So if the president is saying no, then the vice president is going to say no, and the secretary of fill in the blank is going to say no, and the senior staffer is going to say no. So that's what's happening. The entire operation is very restricted. I'm sorry, Dennis.
Yeah, I'm just going to chime in. I have suggested to a number of people and to Pete Souza that bringing, reenacting or reviving some of those practice to let one photographer do, and not necessarily from our group, reach out to somebody else. I don't care, but to have them do those day in the life to see. We can't bring 5 photographers everywhere.
Absolutely,
that's ridiculous. But to go back to have them, and this wouldn't be an everyday thing. It would just be sometimes when the security and everything works for them and works for us. And I think those times when they can reach out and do that would help everybody involved. Nobody wants them to not release those. That's fine. The only complaint we have is they're releasing things on situations that we used to cover. We want that access. That's all we want.
Mm-hmm.
And so,
when I wrote that piece for Lightbox, my impression was the reason for the release, or at least one of the core reasons, was impression that the media was neither fair nor accurate much of the time. So why not just run your own photos and let them out and speak louder than what the media's voice is?